Hello, my wonderful third graders. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We are still talking about astronomy in our solar system and beyond. And today's lesson is about the galaxies. There's actually going to be some really beautiful pictures of different galaxies that we get to look at. Some vocabulary words you'll hear throughout the read aloud. Astronomical means really large, enormous in number, size, or distance. Atoms are the tiny particles from which all substances are made. So we talked about atoms and cells, right? When we talked about the human body. Cluster, a number of things of the same kind that are together in a group. Fuse means to join together. Galaxy, a large collection of stars, dust, and gas, held together by a powerful force and separated from other star systems by an extensive amount of space. Irregular, uneven, not regular in shape, size, or other characteristics. Light years, distance traveled by light over a period of years, a measure of length used in astronomy. Spiral is an adjective. It describes something curved in shape, gradually winding around a center point. All right, I'm going to read a statement about the solar system. The underlying part of the statement is not true, and you need to tell me what would make this statement true. What would you have to put in that blank to make the statement true? Okay, there are 7 planets in our solar system. That's not true. There are 8 planets. Earth is the 5th planet away from the sun. That's not true. It's the 3rd planet. The 4 gas giants are Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, and Neptune. That's not true. It's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The comet belt lies between the planets Mars and Jupiter. It's an asteroid belt. Pluto is a dwarf planet and lies in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. No, that's the dwarf planet Ceres. Moons are natural meteors that orbit a planet. Meteors aren't what orbits a planet, it's satellites. It is hot on the side of Mercury facing away from the sun. Not hot, it is frigid. The terrain of Venus acts like a greenhouse and traps the heat energy from the sun. Not the terrain, the atmosphere. A galaxy like the Milky Way. All right, look at this picture. It's an actual photograph taken using a telescope. It's so pretty. A galaxy is a gigantic cluster of stars, gas, and dust. Our solar system is a small part of a galaxy called the Milky Way, which looks very much like the galaxy in this image. Our sun is only one of billions of other stars in this galaxy. Okay, so we can add Milky Way galaxy to our address, our space address. It's hard to imagine a billion stars or how much a billion of anything is. Here are some ways to think about just how big a billion is. A dump truck full of sand contains about 1 billion grains of sand. It would take you almost 32 years to count to 1 billion if you counted one number each second without stopping. Wow, that's a long time. A giant cube of ice, the length and width of a football field, not including the end zone, and 35 building stories high, would weigh about 1 billion pounds. Interesting. I hope you have enjoyed the tour of our solar system so far. We've learned that our solar system is made up of the sun and all the objects that orbit around it, including the 8 planets and their satellites, asteroids, and comets. Isn't space amazing? The thing that may amaze you most is how much distance there is between the planets in our solar system. No wonder they call it space. Now that we have reached the edge of our solar system, do you want to see more closely what lies in the center? Before you can understand what lies beyond our solar system, you need to know a little more about what stars are. And the best place to start, get it? Start, is with the star that lies at the center of our solar system that you see every day, our very own sun. Let's buckle up, put our classroom spaceship into superdrive, and continue on our tour. Feel like we're in the magic school bus. You know that you should never look directly at the sun because it will damage your eyes. But with the special equipment on our spaceship, we are able to look directly at it. Wow, is the sun bright? And the sun is so much brighter and bigger than all the rest of the stars because we are so much closer to our star than we are to any other star. We are close enough to the sun that its light reaches Earth in only a little more than 8 minutes. We only see our star, the sun, in the daytime because that's when we're facing it. And when the sun lights up our skies, it is so bright that we can't usually see any other stars in the daytime. You can tell just by looking there's no way a spaceship could land on the sun. It's a big mass of incredibly hot gas. There's no solid surface to land on. The sun, like all stars, is made mostly of a gas called hydrogen. Hydrogen atoms in the center of the sun crash into each other under intense heat and pressure. The hydrogen atoms fuse or join together to form another gas called helium, and this fusion creates energy you can see and feel in the form of light and heat. So hydrogen turning into helium produces vast amounts of energy and is what causes the sun to shine. So remember, atoms are the tiny particles from which all substances are made. You may have heard cells described as the basic building blocks of tissues. Atoms and cells are similar in that both are basic parts of bigger things. The amount of heat and light being produced by a star determines its color. The surface of our sun is about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, not nearly as hot as the inside of the star. Even though 10,000 degrees is really hot compared to boiling water, our sun is still only considered a medium hot yellow star. Some stars are even hotter and some are not as hot as our sun. In fact, our sun is not as hot as it used to be. Do you remember how hot boiling water is? It's 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Later you'll learn about the 4 different colors of stars: blue, white, yellow, and red, in their various temperatures. Scientists believe that all stars are made of more or less the same thing: hydrogen, helium, and smaller amounts of other basic substances. But just because stars are made from huge amounts of hydrogen and helium doesn't mean that all stars are the same. They aren't. The amount of substance or mass that makes up each star can vary, and the substances that make up some stars are more packed together than others. Imagine a box filled with cotton balls. Now imagine pressing those cotton balls together so that you could fit even more into the same box, the same size box. Stars are like that. The substances in stars are like the cotton balls. Some are more packed together or denser than others. Stars have different ages too. Some stars in the universe were literally just born yesterday, and some, like the sun, are believed to be billions of years old. But our sun is not at the end of its life either. Many scientists believe our sun still has billions of years to live. So stars can be very different from each other. Our sun seems large to us, and it is. In fact, it's so large that more than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. That's a lot of Earths, and just one Earth is pretty big. But believe it or not, our sun is small compared to many other stars. There are stars in the universe that are 2,000 times as big as the sun. Our sun seems very bright to us, and it is, but there are stars that are more than 4 million times as bright. Wow. Even so, there are stars that are smaller than our sun and some that are less bright. So you see, can differ in size, mass, color, brightness, temperature, and age. But the one thing that most stars have in common is that they exist in groups called galaxies. Do you remember how we defined our solar system as a neighborhood of planets, asteroids, and other objects in orbit around a star? Well, a galaxy is a cluster of many stars that orbit around together as an even bigger neighborhood, like a country. So, a galaxy is basically a gigantic country of stars. But all galaxies are not the same. They come in many shapes and sizes. Some galaxies are spiral, some galaxies are elliptical in shape. Still, other galaxies are irregular in shape with no particular pattern, like this one. What are some other examples of a spiral? You could think of a spiral staircase, snail shell, various seashells. You can see how it's the picture of the ones that are spirals up here. Who remembers what elliptical means? In some galaxies, it is easy to see the ellipse, but in others, the ellipse sometimes looks circular. So the galaxy in the lower left is a circular ellipse. The galaxy our solar system is in is called the Milky Way galaxy, which is a spiral galaxy. When you are standing on Earth, you are in the Milky Way galaxy. If you look up into the sky on a very clear day or dark night, away from the light of the city, you can see a narrow band of thousands of stars going through the sky. When you look at this cloudy looking band, you are looking into the thickest, densest part of the Milky Way. The ancient Greeks called this band of stars the Milky Circle, and the ancient Romans called it the Milky Road. But guess what? When you stand outside of the Milky Way and look at it, it looks like a spiral. Would you like to see it? Let's fire up our engines and go. Look how beautiful that is. The night sky with the Milky Way. Wow. Here we are outside of a spiral galaxy like the Milky Way, looking down on it. Astronomers know what the Milky Way galaxy looks like, but no person or spaceship has ever traveled outside of the Milky Way to take a picture of the whole galaxy. Scientists have figured out by using modern scientific instruments that the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy and looks very much like other spiral galaxies that we can take pictures of. Here is a side view of a galaxy like the Milky Way galaxy. You can't see the spiral arms in this view, but it is easy to see the thick, dense cluster of stars in the center of the galaxy. Wow. As you can see, this spiral galaxy has a bright center or hub of many bright stars with star-studded arms swirling out from it amid clouds of gas. Isn't it beautiful and huge? Did you realize that galaxies were so gigantic? Now, how many stars do you think are in one galaxy? A single galaxy usually contains between 1 billion and a few 100 billion stars. And that's not even counting any planets or other objects that may be in orbit around all of those billions of stars. In addition to billions of stars, galaxies also contain clouds of gas and pieces of dust, which can eventually come together to form new stars. Wow. And don't forget, galaxies also include the space in between the stars that are in it. There's a huge amount of space in space. Stars in the Milky Way galaxy can be 100,000 light years away from each other, or they can be 5 light years away from each other, but most are somewhere in between. A light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year. Light travels at a speed of 186,282 miles per second. So 1 light year is nearly 6 trillion miles. That's about 6,000 billion miles. And you thought a billion was big. Well, as you can see, stars in the same galaxy are very far away from each other. Those are astronomical distances. How do we know so much about the Milky Way galaxy? For starters, imagine being in a house at night far away from bright lights. You could look out a window on one side of the house and see several stars in a dark, starlit sky. If you went to the other side of the house and looked out a different window, you would see several different stars. All of the stars you see can be seen together if you walk outside and look up at the whole night sky. People over the world can look up into the sky and see the stars. Just as when you looked out different windows of the same house, people in one part of the world see certain stars, while people looking into the sky on the other part of the world see different stars. Astronomers tell us that in all of Earth's skies, people can see a total of about 2,000 individual stars with the naked eye. Those 2,000 stars are all in our very own galaxy, the Milky Way. Not only that, astronomers use different kinds of powerful telescopes to see even more distant parts of the Milky Way galaxy. Some of those telescopes are on Earth, and some are in orbit around the Earth. And there are even a few telescopes zooming through our solar system. Astronomers share their observations, their photographs, and the data they've gathered with each other, and luckily with us too. Even with all of the powerful equipment, there are still things in the Milky Way galaxy and beyond it that no one has ever seen. Sometimes there is something in the way, like a star or another galaxy, and some things are still too far away, even for our most powerful telescopes. There are more stars and galaxies in the universe than we can imagine. As you look out at the Milky Way, you may wonder about the other galaxies out there. One of the closest galaxies to our Milky Way galaxy is called the Andromeda galaxy. The Andromeda galaxy is a spiral galaxy like our Milky Way. Even though Andromeda is the closest spiral galaxy to our galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy is still very far away, and there is still much that remains unknown about it. Several other small irregular galaxies lie between the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy. Who remembers what the shape of the Andromeda galaxy is called? Look at the picture of it. It's a spiral. The Andromeda galaxy is also known as M31, which gets its name from being 31st on a list of discoveries made by a French astronomer named Charles Messier. Now you know a lot more about our school's space address. We live on the planet Earth. Earth is the third planet from the Sun in our solar system, one of 4 small rocky planets. Our solar system is just one planetary system located in one of the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. Our school's name, Saffel Street. Our school's number and street, 210 Saffel Street. Our town or city, Lawrenceburg. Our state, Kentucky. Our zip code, 40342. Our country, the United States of America. Our planet Earth. And now our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. Alright, you may be thinking about all of the other galaxies that exist besides our galaxy. There are billions of galaxies in the universe. Another astronomical number. Wait, you may be thinking, let me get this right. There are billions of galaxies and all of them have billions of stars in them? Wow, that's so big I can't even get my mind around it. The universe truly is an incredibly gigantic and vast place. So this image was taken from the Hubble telescope, which orbits Earth. It took many hours to receive enough light from these distant galaxies to create this image. What kind of celestial body is our sun? Explain why you would classify it that way. It's a star. It is very hot and made of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium gas. It constantly gives off vast amounts of heat and light. Compare and contrast our sun with other stars. Our sun is a medium-sized, middle-aged yellow star. Most stars are bigger, but some are smaller. Many stars are hotter, and others are not as hot as the sun. Many stars are different colors, our sun is brighter than some stars and less bright than others. Some stars are younger and some are older than our sun. Our sun looks bigger and brighter than other stars because it's so much closer to us than other stars. Like our sun, most stars are part of a galaxy. How do the sun and other stars produce constant heat and light? The atoms of hydrogen in the star fuse together to form helium. This fusion releases vast amounts of energy in the form of heat and light. This is a continuous process. In the read aloud today, you learned that even though all stars look like they are the same distance away, they are not. What do scientists use to measure the astronomical distance between stars and other celestial bodies? The light year. How far is a light year? 1 light year is the distance light travels in 1 year, nearly 6 trillion miles. Wow. What is the Milky Way? How did the Milky Way get its name? It is the spiral galaxy of which our solar system is a part. The ancient Greeks and Romans thought that it looked like a milky band in the sky. What is a galaxy? A galaxy is a very large collection or cluster of gas, dust, and stars separated from other star systems by lots of space. There are billions of galaxies in space. What is the name of the closest spiral galaxy to the Milky Way? The closest spiral galaxy is the Andromeda galaxy. Describe a spiral shape. What are other examples of things that have a spiral shape? Seashells, a staircase, a metal spring, a snail shell. What words and phrases would you use to describe the universe? Vast, gigantic, astronomical, filled with stars beyond the galaxy. Do you think scientists could measure the entire universe? Why or why not? The universe is a vast space that is larger than we can imagine or currently measure. So right now we can't really measure it. If we could measure it, that means it would have a stopping point, and that would be kind of weird. Okay, so asking questions after a read aloud is one way to see how much everyone has learned. Think of a question you could ask someone who also listened to the read aloud that starts with the word what. For example, you could ask, what was the most interesting thing you learned about galaxies? So think of a question you could ask your classmates about what we just learned. Our word for today is irregular. In the read aloud you heard, some galaxies are spiral, some galaxies are elliptical in shape, still other galaxies are irregular in shape, with no particular pattern. Say the word irregular. Something that is irregular is uneven or not regular in shape, size, or a particular characteristic. Martin noticed that the flow of water in the creek is irregular. Sometimes the water is high and fast, and other times there is only a trickle. All right, so we're going to do an activity. If what I say is regular, you're going to say that is regular. If it's irregular, you would say that is irregular. Remember, the prefix IR means not, so it's not regular, irregular. The surface of the wooden floor in the gymnasium is smooth and polished. That is regular. The pavement in the old playground is full of cracks, lumps, and weeds growing through it. That is irregular. My mother says it's important to have a healthy breakfast every day. That is regular. All right, so look at this bottom right image. This galaxy has no particular shape or pattern to it. It is irregular. The pile of Play-Doh formed an odd, lumpy shape. That is irregular. Verbs like walk and jump have the regular past tense walked and jumped, but the past tense for run is ran. That is irregular. The outside of the ball is smooth and even. That is regular. The path of a roller coaster is surprising and unpredictable. That is irregular. All right, good job, third graders. I hope you enjoyed learning more about our sun and the galaxies.